Hi everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another royal news video. So there's lots of news still coming out with regards to Sentebale and the big fallout. Baroness Chalker, who resigned last year, she has come forward and given her side of the story, and she is definitely, like the others, throwing Dr. Chanduka under the bus, and in so many words said that she behaved like a dictator. She decided to quit the organisation when she didn't like the direction that Dr. Chanduka was taking it, and she was spending too much money. Now, I can't help but feel that all of these people keep running to the media to paint Dr. Sophie in a bad light for the public court of opinion. It's almost as if they are collectively using the media to try and discredit her. I'm honestly struggling with that narrative though, given the fact that Dr. Chanduka was on the board of Sentebale from 2009 to 2015 before she was then given the position of chairwoman. So obviously she was well liked and well respected by the organisation, by the trustees and the board back then, to have worked for them for a number of years and to be elected into that position. It's definitely turning rather ugly, but I don't really want to start the video off with ugly, so instead we're going to start the video talking about some lovely royal baby news instead. We obviously knew that Princess Beatrice had given birth to her daughter some time ago, but we had some official photographs released in British Vogue and they are gorgeous. You've got some people complaining that you can't see the baby's face, but she's a baby. I don't care. I think the photographs are still beautiful. Princess Beatrice has finally found her happy ever after with Edo, and you see her now. She's like a completely different person. I couldn't be happier for this sweet couple. It's clear that they absolutely adore each other. They had a lot of nasty stories initially saying that he was using her, which is funny really, because at the time they were trying to say that about Edo, you had this whole storyline going on as well, and it was like you're really looking at the wrong couple. One of the things I loved about their wedding was obviously we had a lot of social restrictions due to the COVID pandemic. Rather than wait and have a big celebration, they still chose to get married, and I think it's wonderful that they did, because who knew this would be one of the last times that we would see, if not the last official that the public saw, the Queen and Prince Philip together like this. How wonderful that the princess will always have those memories, and I especially love the fact that she wore one of her grandmother's dresses and the Queen Mother diamond fringed tiara that the Queen herself had worn on her wedding day, but not without some dramas. Whilst she was getting her hair fixed, the hairdresser accidentally snapped the delicate piece, creating a bit of panic inside the palace walls. I mean, this is any bride's worst nightmare, let alone a princess who would one day be queen. Thankfully, the crown jewellers' garrards were still on hand, and they arranged a police escort to take the tiara to the jewellers to be fixed just in time for the princess to marry the Duke of Edinburgh. The tiara has been a favourite piece amongst royals for many years, and Princess Anne also wore the beautiful tiara on her wedding day to Mark Phillips in 1973. Now, sadly, the tiara didn't bring as much luck with that marriage as it did her parents, but they did go on to have two children together, Peter and Zara, who were 14 and 9 by the time their parents divorced. Now, speaking of that part of the family, on the 21st of March, Lucas Tyndall celebrated turning 4. And he is a gorgeous little boy, but it's that hair, that pure white blonde hair, and I wonder if it will darken down. His mother's and his uncle's darkened down. His grandmother, Princess Anne, she had the hair, but it actually comes from Prince Philip's genes. I mean, this is Prince Philip as a baby, and you can see it being passed down the generations. But not only that, this photograph was shared, and Lucas looks so much like, in every way, not just the hair colour but the features as well, as his grandmother, the Princess Royal. Now, moving away from the cute and the younger royals, let's talk about someone who is not cute, definitely not young, and they are now technically an ex-royal, because they decided to exit exiled themselves. A story broke last week which caused quite a lot of outrage, and I'd imagine some definitely in a royal household or two. And that is, Harry was reportedly doing a deal with Netflix to save their contract, and he was going to do a docu-series about Princess Diana, his mother, to be aired in 2027 on the anniversary, 30 years since Diana died in a car accident. I just thought to myself, that was just a matter of time. Of course he would. He's got no scruples anymore. We can see that with lots of things that he's done in the last 5 and 6 years. Now, this story was quickly shut down as being untrue. It was misinformation from sources close to the couple. But who leaked it in the first place? Was it another attention-seeking stunt by the drama llamas of Montecito? Potentially. I really wouldn't put anything past these two anymore. But the other theory, the one that I'm inclined to believe a little bit more, was Harry and Netflix were they just testing the waters to gauge the public reaction? Were they testing the waters to see how quickly that they would get a legal letter, perhaps from Kensington Palace? There was something about the story that I believe has a smattering of truth to it. We know that Netflix have no moral compass. They would quite happily do it. We know that Harry doesn't have a moral compass anymore. I'm not sure he ever did, and it was covered up by the palace. Anything for a bit of money these days. Well, he's got to keep the lifestyle afloat for his wife, who is also pulling out all of the stops to get as much money in as possible. So let's take Meghan's latest launch. I mean, she's literally throwing everything at the wall all at once, hoping something will stick. Or apparently this one's going to make her a billionaire. Gee, why didn't she think of that before, eh, Meg? Meghan now has a link to my shop in her bio where she is using her full titles to sell clothes. Well, she's not quite selling them, but she earns commission by promoting a carefully curated selection of beige, bland, boring and overpriced clothing. You can even accessorize the beige shirts and beige dresses with a beige handbag, which is actually by Sesta. This is the brand that Meghan collaborated with last year after being photographed wearing the bag a lot. Maybe she eventually wore them down and said, hey, look, I can make your bags sell out. What she wasn't counting on was the big reveal by the Mail that the company only pays Rwandan village women 10p an hour to make these bags, despite selling them anywhere between $700 and $1,200 per bag. I think we can all be certain that Meghan's commission alone for selling one of these bags will probably be more than what these women altogether earn in a month. This is, of course, Meghan, the feminist, human rights campaigner and activist, champion of gender equity. Shop My Closet, the link says, added after she used a photograph of their children, a one that got her maximum coverage because she almost showed Lily's face. Now, lots of people are angry that she's using her title. I agree. Odd that she told Mindy, I'm Meghan Sussex now. But as I said on my Real Duchess video, she only has the link to the royals. This is the only thing that gets her any attention, and she is going to continue to merch it. Now, many people say, but Fergie does it. Well, Fergie divorced Andrew, and it was agreed that she could keep her title, and she could do that. Meghan and Harry made a deal, the Sandringham Summit with Queen Elizabeth II, that they would not do that. Now, of course, people are demanding that the king does something, but really, what is he meant to do? It's his son's dukedom. Meghan only gets to use the title, so if he takes the dukedom, she'll just call herself Princess Meghan. It's possibly why she keeps trying to poke the bear in hope that they will take the dukedom, and then she can play victim and go, oh, what about the children? It's racism, it's misogyny, or misogynoir, which is a word that I keep hearing now. What do I think about Meghan using her titles to merch clothes? In all honesty, I don't care. Do you know why I don't care? It's because it shows her to be the person that everybody like myself predicted that she was. It shows that she married Harry for this very purpose, the reason why she clutched at the titles for the children. Meghan always knew that Harry was the key to getting fame and fortune, and this was confirmed more recently when ex-Vanity Fair editor Graydon Carter spoke out regarding Meghan's now infamous cover Wild About Harry. Many of you will probably remember that Meghan said that it had racist undertones to it because it dates back to a Judy Garland film many years ago, and there's a musical number in it with people in blackface. But I think most people, and especially royal watchers, will be more aware of the fact this was the headline that was used with Princess Diana when she was holding a baby Harry on the steps outside the hospital. Graydon said in his interview that Jane Sarkin, who booked our covers, came in one day and said we should do a cover on Meghan Markle, and he said, "I have no idea who that is." She said, "She's on Suits." I still have no idea what that is or who she is. Why should we do a story on her? Because she's going to marry Prince Harry. And he said at one point that Meghan challenged the reporter during the interview and said, "Excuse me, is this going to all be about Prince Harry? Because I thought we were going to be talking about my charities and my philanthropy." Carter said this woman is slightly adrift on the facts and reality. The problem that Vanity Fair had was the fact checkers in charge of basically trying to get the information together of what philanthropy she had carried out and what charities she was affiliated to could find no history of Meghan doing any such things, apart from a speech at the UN and quickly changing her Wikipedia page from a model to an activist. Considering that they weren't engaged until a month after that magazine came out, I'm certain that she told them, "I'm going to marry Harry," to book the cover. Meghan knew the royal family were her only opportunity to get worldwide fame that she craved. That's why she keeps making references to her title, her monogram, and the children who are now a prince and a princess at the request of their parents. Yes, it is a birthright, but they made that decision for those children. And now we see why. It makes the children a marketable royal asset. Maybe I'm being harsh, but that's how I view it. Hence the constant use of the children now that she's launched her show, her podcast, her social media accounts, of course her new business venture, and now even the affiliated link to buy designer clothes. Meghan didn't care about changing the world, doing good, or using her platform to make other people's lives better. She didn't join the royal family to give those without a voice a chance to speak through her. The only voice she ever cared about is her own. Becoming a royal was the ultimate brand for her, a smash and grab, a cash and carry con job. And nobody can convince me otherwise. Meghan is an opportunist and a tenacious social climber, and this is exactly what we are seeing play out yet again with her climb into Gwyneth Paltrow's world. As I said at the end of my last video, it got revealed to the world, oh, don't worry everybody, we are actually friends, we are hanging out together. Bit odd considering Gwyneth said in Vanity Fair, "I've met her, I don't know her at all." And there were quite clearly a few obvious swipes. Now people are saying it was all a big ruse in the beginning, they duped us into getting attention. I don't think so. I believe that Gwyneth is with WME. I believe that WME are still representing Meghan. I believe that this was an opportunity for Meghan to get the spotlight on her, especially with Harry's scandal, also said in my previous video. But I also think this worked as a win for Gwyneth. She invited Meghan over, who probably ran there barefoot and excited with glee, to put an end to Meghan attaching herself to everything that Gwyneth was doing. Ever since the Vanity Fair article came to light and people said, oh, there's beef going on, every post that Gwyneth has done, even Tracy Anderson, everything is being attached to Meghan. By Gwyneth now inviting Meghan round to say, look, we're actually friends, we're playing nicely together, it kind of snips that, doesn't it? It nips it in the bud. But I can't help but think it's more of that keep your friends close and your enemies closer. There are lots of possibilities, and if I'm really honest with you guys, I don't really care either way. I don't care about any of it, but the reason why I want to talk about it is more to do with Meghan's social climbing skills that we saw her deploy. It was executed so perfectly and so quickly that she managed to dupe the royal family, and you're seeing it play out again. Meghan is definitely swimming in the same waters now as Gwyneth, and she seems to be latching on to even the very same friendship circle. Tracy Robbins, wife of Paramount CEO, Jennifer Rudolph Walsh, and Victoria Jackson. They both own Godmother's bookstore. All three women appearing together on an episode of With Love, Meghan. They are now apparently such good friends that they have regular game nights. Then you have Whitney Wolfe Herd, creator of Bumble dating app. She used her private jet to get to the Katy Perry concert, and there were lots of stories about how Meghan and her have bonded, and they are now best friends as well. Then, of course, you've got Ted Sarandos, his wife Nicole, and Oprah. Pretty much everybody who was on the guest list at last year's GOOP dinner to celebrate a collaboration between GOOP and Loro Piana. But this is it. Meghan is a wannabe with no skills or discernible talent other than social climbing. Now that, as I said, she excels at, and she would be better off creating a book or a podcast about that particular subject of which she knows a lot about. That would definitely get her a lot of views. Meghan might get the odd invite here and there because she does attract media attention wherever she goes, but I think she's being used just as much as she's using other people. Meghan is happy that she's finally in with the in crowd, because I don't think mentally she's got past that high school mentality. Meghan is simply there because of Harry and who his family is. When we go back to when Meghan was on the stage at Kevin Costner's big fundraiser that he holds for the emergency service workers, Meghan might have been on stage, but that was only because she was attached to Harry. He's who they wanted, hence why they refused to give her a microphone, not once, but twice. Even at the Godmother's bookstore opening, Meghan was waffling on stage, right? Oprah walks in, maybe she'd gone out for a fag break, who knows? But she was chatting away, and she comes and takes her seat as Meghan was busy talking to, I'm sure, the clearly enthralled audience, leaving Meghan flustered for a few seconds. Oprah didn't care that she was in the middle of telling another one of her stories. Meghan went to the Women in Business event in the Hamptons. She went with her friend Misha Nunu and Jamie Kern-Lima. She wasn't photographed with Gwyneth Paltrow, with Reese Witherspoon, with Diane Sawyer and all of the other celebrities that was there, because she isn't one of them. She is an interloper, and by comparison, a poor one at that. I wonder how many of those successful women that were there at that business event really feel about what Meghan is doing to the New York City as ever clothing brand, because Meghan came along and she just took that name. She didn't even have the decency to notify the company, I'm going to be doing this. She has just come along and said, that's mine, I'm taking it. She's in the process of trying to get it trademarked. When she does get that trademarked, she can put them out of business. She can tell them that they are no longer allowed to use the name. This is a company that was built up from the ground by a husband and wife team, and Meghan is already doing damage to their business because of her continuous posts on Instagram as ever, and it takes away any traffic that they were getting. So now they're begging people, please make sure that you use the correct hashtags. Meghan doesn't care about the smaller business or the small little villages in Spain because she knows that they don't have the money to fight her. Meghan landed a podcast on being a successful businesswoman when she's more of a disaster at being that than what she was at being a duchess. Meghan has earned herself a backstage pass into this world because of the royal family. She has social climbed into this latest set of people in the exact same way that she did royal circles. Now she's just waving a title. And the thing is, she can surround herself with the same friends as Gwyneth. She can eat at the same restaurants, interview the same people for podcasts, and even have them on her show. She can wear the same clothes, wear matching necklaces. She can merch the same products and run around the Hamptons pretending that she's there because of her talent and her business acumen. But we all know the truth, as do all of those other women that are there. Meghan said on the promo for her latest podcast, this isn't a shark tank, this is a dolphin tank. You know, it's all friendly waters here. But I think deep down Meghan thinks she is a shark. But in reality, when it comes to egos and celebrity lifestyle influencers, Meghan is just a little fish in a very big pond with lots of other big fish, and they definitely have bigger teeth than her. So guys, that's it for me on this video. I will be back with you very soon. Take care for now. Bye.